Good morning. Just as you promised, within a year of taking the columnar pad and paying it up the scale, it's gone. And we're starting all over again with a brand new house. So that's very exciting, and fully knowing that it will evolve in the exact same way as it did the first time. So thank you.
Before you go further, we'll explain briefly. What he is talking about is if you are in a situation where it feels as if there is less money coming in than is comfortable, create a columnar pad and list your items, largest expense here, and then smaller, all the way to the bottom with your monthly expenditures laid out for you. And then start with the one on the bottom, the far right column, and pay it double, whatever it is. It might be an $11 something or other to some credit card company. It doesn't matter what it is. Pay it double. And then say to yourself, as you do it, I do my best to keep my financial commitments, and in some cases I do twice what is required. Now, we want to say to you, and you already know that it works, but we want to tell you just a little bit why it works. By playing this game, you approach the payment of bills from a fun attitude instead of an attitude of concern. In a very short period of time, because it becomes a game, you look forward to even the smallest amount of extra money that would come in, because it's going to help you hack away at what's happening over there on the right-hand columns. It changes your whole vibrational attitude about money, which is all that was necessary anyway for money to begin flooding in.
And I had a great time writing a $12,000 check this week. That was a lot of fun, so thank you. My next question is about a meditative experience that I had during a church service. I couldn't put my finger on anything different approaching this experience, but as I was sitting in meditation and hearing songs being sung, it was like the whole world opened up, and it was all for me. And one, I'd like to be able to understand that experience a little bit better, and two, how can I replicate that? Because I don't feel like I've gotten there since that one time.
There are a number of things we want to give to you, but first we're going to play with you just a little bit by saying to you, if you have a question that you've taken a while formulating, and you finally really nail the question to the point that you are able to express it fully, and you receive a full answer to the question, do you continue to carry that question around and ask it again and again and again and again and again?
No.
Or once it's answered, can you walk away with that answered? So it's a very common thing for our physical friends to, in one way or another, get into a state where they finally are releasing resistance in a moment enough to receive fully something that they've been asking for. But then it felt so good. They want to do it again and again and again and again and again. And we say, ask for something else. You got the answer to that. So you might say, well, I got the answer. What was the question again? And we'd say, the question was, who am I? Am I worthy? Am I loved? Am I known? Do you know who I am? Can you see me? And what was the answer? You are the center of the universe, and it's all here for you. So now what do you want to know?
Thank you. My next question is thank you. One of the ways in my life in which I am blessed is with a beautiful wife and 2 young children. And I want to improve my vibration when I'm around them, because sometimes there's conflict between my wife and my daughters. And as the teacher that I am, I feel responsible for imparting to them that where they are or what they're doing isn't who they really are. And so I find myself in frustration and wanting to be able to remove myself, or not physically remove myself, but emotionally improve my vibration around the subject of them having their conflict, like I can looking at something on the news and be just as detached about that.
Well, that may be the answer to your question. Be detached from something that isn't any of your business.
Right.
You said something that is interesting to us, and we want to shine this back in a way that you can see it, because you said, so I'm working to find alignment with who I am and doing pretty good at it. We can feel. You know that. Then I watch someone else in a moment of they're not doing very well at it. And then your next words were, and I become frustrated.
Right.
Which means you are moving down the emotional scale in your observation of that. And so then we want to say to you, so what happens in this teaching mentality that so many people have is, I see somebody having an experience that I know they don't want to have, and so then I must approach them vibrationally so that we can have conversation, because if I'm bright and fluffy, they can't hear me at all. In fact, I annoy them.
Right.
So I bring myself into frustration, and then I don't teach through the clarity of my example, because now I'm just doing the same thing they're doing. They're letting the conditions of their experience dictate how they feel, and now I'm letting the conditions of my experience dictate how I feel. So the thing that we really want to say to you as a mentor in your own family and as a teacher at large, since all of us teach through the clarity and the power of our own example, do we have any choice other than just maintaining our own high vibration and trusting that we therefore will serve as an example that they will catch on to? In other words, nothing is more annoying to your wife than to be in that place where she knows she's not where she wants to be. She often is in a place of joy. She knows the difference between how this feels and how that feels, you see. And so she doesn't need you or anybody else from the peanut gallery pointing out to her that she's not where she wants to be. And you're certainly not going to pose a good example by getting down there in the trenches and trying to make it better. So it really is a very gift-like attitude to hold yourself at some place of detachment from things that make you feel that way, and just teach through the clarity of your example. You just can't get in there and compromise your own vibration and accomplish what you set out to accomplish with this question. Your question is, how can I be of value to them? And sometimes you get in a little bit of a trap, because when you're really happy and you're up close to people you care about who for whatever reason in this moment aren't, they sort of resent your happiness, first of all, because you're living something they want to live. And then they'll say to you or think things like, well, if you were walking in my shoes, you wouldn't be this happy either. You get to go off and do that and that and that, and I have to do this and this and this. But you can't give in to that. You have to hold to your standards of vibrational alignment that you know. And when you do that, it is our promise to you that law of attraction will deliver them to you more in vibrational alignment with who you are. So here's how it works. So you see them happy often. We know you do. And you see them fulfilled often. We know you do. And you see them frustrated sometimes. But you see them all kinds of ways up and down the chart, but mostly the way you see them in your mind's eye is the way that the universe will deliver them to you. So what you do is you practice the very best feeling thoughts of them. You practice them. You just become stubbornly, doggedly determined to see them as you want to see them. Why? Because it feels good to you when you do it. In other words, you are selfishly maintaining your own vibrational alignment. You are insisting on seeing them as the source within you sees them. That's your determination. I insist on seeing you as my source sees you, and I'm not willing to separate myself from source and look at you in any other way. I insist on seeing you as my source sees you. And what begins to happen as you maintain that more consistently is that it becomes such a strong vibration that even knowing you're coming home makes them start sort of cleaning up their vibration. The moment you walk in the door, you change the energy of the space. In other words, you carry with you such an energy force of well-being that you just sort of draw it out of them. In the same way that we said the source is calling them up the emotional scale, there you are, right smack dab in the middle of their life, radiating a beam like a satellite signal that's up close to them, calling them toward. But feel the opposite happens when you let yourself get frustrated, and then you get sort of caught up in that fray. Then, instead of being one who practices an activation of what you want to draw from them, you practice an activation of a vibration that you don't want to draw from them, but you draw it from them just the same. So what you want to say to yourself, and we're going to lay this on you really thick because we know you can take it. What you want to say, this is the next question that you are asking, now that we've given you the brilliant answer to that one. The thing that we really want you to hear is, when you have practiced yourself into the vibration of how you really want to see them, it will not be possible for them to show that other side of themselves to you. They can only show it to you if it's still active within you. So, when it shows up, it's not their doing, it's yours. Ooh. So then, I'm taking responsibility. Now, at first that feels uncomfortable, not to you, but often that feels uncomfortable because I actually, in my insecurity, felt better at blaming them for their insufficiencies. But in my connection to Source and in my utter security, now there's no discomfort with what anyone is doing. In other words, now you're sort of above the fray, and even though they're having their experience, it's not affecting you. We know what you wanted to mean, but it isn't what anybody ever means. What you said and what you wanted to mean was, I want to get so good at this that I can teach it to them so that they can live a better life. And we say, you want to learn it and teach it to them so that you can live a better life. And now here's the shortcut. Learn it and teach it to yourself. You don't even have to teach it to them, and you'll live a better life. Because law of attraction can't bring anybody to you that's sideways from your vibration. Ooh, talk about empowerment. Talk about freedom, and talk about upliftment. You are a teacher to the core of your being. You are an uplifter to the very core of your being. But you can't teach what you're not offering vibrationally. And that's really the point of all of this, isn't it? We know you know it and experience it most of the time. You want to experience it all of the time. And we say, we wouldn't put that high standard on anyone. We would never say, I will not allow myself negative emotion. Because you want to be out there, you want to be flexible, you want to have your sea legs, you want to have exposure to life experience, you want to have opportunity to launch rockets of desires. You want to have emotions that you now know what to do about. But you see, here's the thing, and we've never said it in this clear way before. It truly is the leading edge of thought that we are all chewing upon here today. You do not have control over other people's emotions, but you do have control over your emotions, you see. You've got control over your emotions. And when you exercise your control over your emotions, now you've got control over everything that happens in your experience. All of those people that are out there that are trying to control conditions, if they could give up trying to control conditions and just control their own emotions by directing their thoughts toward what they want and lining up, law of attraction would have to deliver to them the world that they want to live in, you see.
One more question asked at the risk that I haven't heard anything you've said up until now. And it's a selfish question, but I so much love to hear the words of Abraham on the recordings after I leave the seminar. As you see me personally and vibrationally, please tell me, how good do I have it?
You understand it as fully as anyone that we interact with. And you have it, therefore, as good as anyone. The one little thing that we can feel within you is an embarrassment about negative emotion that we hope to have put to rest here. We don't want you to be uncomfortable about the negative emotion that you see in your family, and we don't want you to be uncomfortable with the negative emotion that you feel within yourself, because no matter what emotion you're hearing or feeling, it's the call of Source. Can you get that? It's the call of Source. Source never stops summoning you toward the closing of that gap. Source never gives up on you. Source never says, oh, not that one. Oh, that one is so far down the emotional scale. Day after day, we have to start down there. Source just bees who you have just asked us how you can be. Source just bees that vibration, and everything just is positively affected by that, you see. Don't you just love the well-being that abounds? Don't you just love the earth spinning and the food growing and the air continuing and people being born? Don't you love the balance of this planet? Isn't there so much well-being that abounds? And doesn't it make the things that you're nitpicking over extraordinarily inconsequential? Isn't it really worth just doing your best to feel the best you can? We think you've got it.
Thank you.
So if negative emotion means I'm not in full alignment with who I am, and positive emotion means I am in full alignment with who I am, then should I feel bad about negative emotion? Because it's all guidance, isn't it? Do you put happy face stickers over your empty gas gauges?